Welcome to our Uni-Vibe series.
In this series, we're going to share with you Uni-Vibes from some of our favorite manufacturers.
And maybe we'll figure out, does the drive go before or after a vibe? On today's episode of PJ and the Beard, we're going to take a look at a vibe pedal as part of our Uni-Vibe series. But before we get into that, I'd like to ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, clicking on the notification bell. Your interaction with us helps us interact with great people in the industry. In this case, we went to Zzounds so that we could interact with SolidGoldFX for the second time on the channel. And we got in the Aurras Optical Vibraphase. And Aurras is the Greek goddess of sound. And in looking at that, there were things that said that made grown men cry.
We're not going.
Not sure that's the goal of tonight's episode, but that is who SolidGoldFX named this pedal out. They have another pedal that is like a single LFO. This is a dual LFO.
So yeah, and it's crazy good. In fact, the other pedal we had on from them was part of our Shakedown Sound series. It was really good too. I'm pretty excited about this one. So here's what I'm gonna say right from the get-go. One of my favorite effects is Uni-Vibe. Before we got into the Leslie thing, it was my favorite. I think I lean more towards Leslie's now. But I've always had this sound in my head of what I think a Uni-Vibe should sound like.
Right.
And I struggle to get it. Like, I can't get it. And I feel like with this pedal, it's really easy to get the sound that I always had in my head. If that makes sense. Like, the sound that I think, oh, it should sound like this. And then you start twisting knobs, you can never find it. I feel like I can find it in this pedal. I'm not going to say I'm great at it, but, you know, I feel part of the problem is I can't play like Hendrix. But, yeah. So right off the bat, going to say that. I think we're going to jump right into sounds. And then we're going to twist some knobs and jump into some more sounds. So here's my first clip. Here's the sound, like when I sat down and just started twisting knobs, that I was like, oh, that's kind of like the sound I was looking for. All right, that was on my 2014 60th anniversary Fender USA Strat. I'm just rubbing it in because this is a Craigslist find for like $550, $600. It was ridiculous. Just so you know.
That's nice.
I love that guitar, though. It's become one of my favorite guitars. What do you got?
So for my first clip, I adopted that pedal show mindset. I went with a mix recommendation. I put everything at 2 o'clock on the pedal with a toggle switch on the frequency side, had everything at 2 o'clock on the Echo Tour, and I grabbed the PRS DGT with Porter pickups, and I played this.
I played that first clip right as Pat. I was ready for it when Pat walked in. We recorded it. Pat started looking at the pedal. I'm like, well, maybe I should give you a little walkthrough on this pedal. So I sat down, started twisting knobs and showing him what everything does. And we ended up dialing up this sound that I was kind of like, wow, I wonder how that would sound with the Leslie Sound riff that we used to play for that Leslie Sound series. There's a really cool feature. We haven't talked much about features. We'll give you one right here. Here's the first one. If you push down the tap tempo button and hold it, it will double the speed. If you push down the on-off button and hold it, it will half the speed, which made doing the Leslie Sound clip possible.
So one thing we like to do when we're trying a new pedal is try out different guitars and different pickups. So I grabbed the Beard's Hot Rod Tele with a mini humbucker in the neck. Although I think I played on the bridge. And I grabbed the
Go figure.
Keeley Blues Disorder, and I left it on the BB side. And we set the Echo Tour to like a slapback, and it was kind of like a space cowboy country. I don't know what it was, but here it is.
We have two more clips for you, but first we're going to get into some knob turning. Let's talk about features and spin some knobs really quick. This pedal has something I think that sets it apart from other Uni-Vibes, and that is that dual LFO thing. Which at first I was like, yeah, so. And then you play with it and you're like, oh, yeah, okay.
That.
I get it. So let's do the easy stuff first. There is a level knob on here. And if you push the level knob, you can actually get it to act like a boost. I'm not sure. Do we need to demo that? I'm not sure we need, but you can crank that level up and get kind of a boost out of it. I kind of, I mean, I guess that might come in handy, but really if you're buying this pedal, you're probably buying it for the Uni-Vibe, not for the boost.
You don't need a $209 boost.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to kind of skip over that. That's there. You could do that. You have, let's just go here. I have a level. Somewhere around 12 is probably unity gain. I have over here speed, depth, and then this knob is your dry mix. And so what's interesting with that, if you take, here's the way I look at it. We're going to try to simplify it a little bit. If you go all the way counterclockwise, you basically have a vibrato. If you go the other direction, you start to bring in the vibe pedal. Things get a little thicker, a little deeper. We'll show that here in a second. Actually, maybe that's a good place to start. So I'm going to turn up the depth. So speed and depth on a Uni-Vibe, if you're watching this video, probably pretty self-explanatory, but we'll cover those in a second. I'm going to turn it on, Pat. Why don't you...
You want the frequency or the face side? Are you where you want to be?
It doesn't matter because we have the offset off.
Gotcha.
We haven't talked about that yet. Let's go from vibe. Let's just run that knob. So maybe some like kind of rakes, then we'll turn it, and then some rakes so they can hear, or some chords, whatever you want.
PRS Silver Sky, Tyler JT22, Echo Tour.
So really on that Leslie Sound video clip I did earlier, we had that all the way over kind of like the vibrato. So you're taking the clean guitar out and you're just getting the effect. And then we had cranked the depth a good bit, and speed would have been considerably faster, right? Mm-hmm. So that's how we did the Leslie Sound clip. All right, so they've done something super interesting with this pedal because it has a dual LFO thing. And this little toggle is where that comes into effect. So you have two sides on that toggle. You have a frequency side and a phase side. I'm going to do my best to try to explain what's happening here, although I'm not sure I 100%, from a technical aspect, understand what it's doing, but it doesn't matter because you can hear what it's doing.
True.
So on the frequency side, it's how fast each LFO is going. So when we start messing with the frequency side, the offset of the frequency side, one of the LFOs slows down and the other one stays faster. So if you have like this imaginary line drawn in the middle of this waveform that's going by, one of them's hitting that faster and the other one's hitting it kind of slower. And because of that, they can get kind of out of sync. If you look at the blinking lights on the pedal now, they're blinking together. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to get away from the Leslie Sound. We're going to bump up our dry mix a little bit. Just random here. Slow it down a little bit. And then, maybe not too much though. And then, Pat, if you rake a couple times, then we'll move that around just to see what it does. So, you notice the one got really slow, the other one stayed kind of fast. That's really cool, and there's some interesting sounds to be had there. If we flip this over to the phase side, and then roll this all the way back down. So now, you're not dealing with frequency or timing anymore, you're dealing with phase and how far apart they are. And that's what's confusing, because I can't picture... like, are the troughs on the waveform getting bigger or smaller, or is it how far they are apart from each? It doesn't matter. It sounds really good. And this is what I think for the Leslie Sound thing, clip we did, we used that too. And we had the offset up pretty high for that. So, or you have to look at the picture. I can't remember where we got it. But anyway, we'll do the same thing. We'll kind of roll that around. Play that Leslie Sound. One of the things I like about this is that it's almost like you get a fast rotor and a slow rotor on it.
Right.
I don't know. And you'll notice I took it all the way back down, so we took the dry through out again to do that. Anyway, so I'm having trouble explaining it, I think. Or at least showing you how cool it is, because it is. It's super cool.
It sounds really good.
You feel like you get a good sound, and then you start playing with the offset, and you're like, oh. Mm-hmm. Anything else that we need to show?
Did you show you talked about the timing in one of your clips, right? Where if you push the button and hold it.
Yeah.
That was the Leslie one. Yes.
Well, we could do this. All right, so let's get kind of... Oh my gosh, I think I knew that. Let's get kind of a more Uni-Vibe-ish sound again. Let me go back to frequency. Kind of a low offset. And we're going to take the rate all the way down. We'll run the rate knob.
Okay. It takes a long time to come back once you've gone to the...
I think that feature's super cool, though. Mm-hmm. And so basically what it's doing is left side's doubling it, cutting it in half, right? So it's a pretty cool feature. The other feature, we'll get to that in a second. Is there any other thing with the knobs that we need to do? Do we need to run... if you take the depth all the way off, the speed knob becomes like it tracks the LFO, or right? So like we could turn this knob, the depth knob, all the way down, and then if I move the speed knob around, it's like almost like setting a cock wall, but you're setting it on the LFO, right? So if you really like that, you could do that. You could also hook up an expression pedal like the Mission Engineering EP1. You could hook something like that up to it and control that speed knob with this. So you could kind of almost get it like it's not a wah.
Right.
It's a different, you're not...
But it does sweep through frequencies, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's cool. You can do that too. What do you think? Back to clips?
I think we should.
I've done a lot of talking, but I think we were going to do my clip first. The next clip, since I was holding this, is a Strat through the EP, using the EP1, just to see what it sounds like, kind of playing something and then controlling the speed of the pedal live. We recorded this clip twice, once with my white Strat and once with my green Strat. One was in standard tuning, one was in E flat, and it'll be interesting to see which one makes it into the episode. So,
one might be the outtake. Who knows?
Yeah, here you go.
All right, for my last clip, I grabbed the Angry Orange, a recent addition from our friends at Keeley. And I had everything on the big muff side because I've never played a big muff. And I thought, let's try that out. So I tried it out, and I went back to the that pedal show mentality, mix it mentality, everything at 2, except this time the toggle switch was on the phase side, and maybe you understand a little bit more about that than the first time I referenced it. And then I grabbed the Harley Benton with the single Porter P90 and played this.
All right, so that's the SolidGoldFX Aurras. Pat, final thoughts?
You know, when I came down, I can't remember if you said it to me on Sunday or today. You said it in this video earlier, like, hey, I think I found something that has the vibe pedal sound that's in my head. Doesn't mean it's the Hendrix sound, doesn't mean it's whatever, but it's just this thing. And I came down here and he was playing it, and then I finally got to sit in front of it. And honestly, I couldn't find a bad sound. I will say that my experience with Vibes has been sometimes they thin out the sound. Sometimes you just can't quite figure out where the throb is, all the different pieces, parts. This one made it really easy. Honestly, until we started twisting a knob when we were emulating the wah, that was the only brittle sound was when that would have been probably the equivalent of the toe. Everything else was just lush and rich. And what you can do with the 2 LFOs, you can really get like a tremolo sound at some things. You can get like a chorus sound. You can get obviously a phase sound. You can get a Leslie sound. There's a lot going on in there, and it was fun. It was really easy to use. I was really impressed by the fidelity of the pedal. I thought it sounded really good.
It did. We're kind of in the infancy still of the Vibe series. Yeah. And we've had some nice, we've had some nice vibes down here.
High-end ones in here too, yeah.
To start that series off. And so far, this is hanging with all of them. Like, it's good. In fact, I think there's 3 or 4 vibe pedals on the shelf that we had, knowing that this series would be coming up someday. And I've been wanting to do the Vibe series since we started the channel like 5 years ago. So there's some nice Vibe pedals on the shelf that have never even been seen on the channel yet because we just haven't done them yet. And so I am here's my final thought. I'm super impressed. I'm blown away. I think this thing is great. I really don't want to send it back to Zzounds. I don't know. We might have to.
There might be a return tag coming back. I don't know what happens if you put a black Sharpie mark through one of the items on the list.
I don't know what we're going to do because I'm going to make a prediction. Here, okay, so this is my final thought. Here's my prediction. Whether we send it back or not, at the end of the year when we do our best pedals of 2024, right. I'm going to predict this pedal's going to be in that episode. I'm saying now. Anything to add? I think that sums it up for me.
Yeah, no, I just think about pedals I don't really know how to use. So when we're talking about this vibe pedal, and as we've gone on this journey with envelope filters and other things, we're learning more about those pedals and how to work them. I just felt like I wanted to say that because it's like sometimes the pedals we get, it's not the pedal. It's just like us trying to figure out where to land with these pedals.
Yeah.
But that one, it was simple.
He did make, I wonder if we pushed it enough. The offset thing is crazy good. when you have it off, you're kind of like you made that point. You're kind of like your standard one LFO Uni-Vibe, and then when you pick your flavor, frequency or phase, and you start turning that, that's when some real new magic starts to happen. And so, and it's certainly one of the reasons I'm predicting 2024 best of right here. And I think in the history, the 5 years we've been doing the channel, that is the first time I think I've dropped. I think this is going to be end of the year video.
You're not going to get an argument from the other person on the committee, so. Depending on what comes in the next 7 months or 6 months, or wherever we are. Yeah, right.
So there you go. SolidGoldFX, the Aurras Optical Vibraphase. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button, clicking the notification bell, leaving a comment. Anytime you interact with the show, that's what helps us interact with cool people. And I'd like to do some more with Solid Gold. The two that we've had have been great. So that helps us bring cool stuff in to share with you, and we appreciate that. So with that,
I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.